for all.
Thank you, gentlemen. Sherilyn, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Burbridge.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Syke.
Here.
Commissioner McClure. Commissioner Rogers.
Here.
Commissioner Randall.
Here.
All are present except for Commissioner McClure.
Okay, thank you. Next is the agenda approval. If there are any items that need to be removed from tonight's consideration, now would be the time to do so. Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to approve this evening's agenda as given.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to approve tonight's agenda as given.
Okay, and is there a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve this evening's agenda as given. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 All those opposed, same sign. Okay, then we'll move into presentations. We do have two this evening. The first one is from the Boys and Girls Club, Mr. Mike Patch. Good evening.
Good evening. How are you commissioners doing tonight?
Good.
I do want to say I thank you for having us here and appreciate it. If you have any questions during this presentation, I am here at your pleasure, so please just stop me and ask, and happy to fill you in. There's some things going on that you may be curious about or have some questions with. So without further ado, our mission at the Aztec Boys and Girls Club is to inspire and enable all youth, especially those who need us most, to realize their full potential as productive, responsible, and caring citizens. With that said, when I came before you a year ago, I had a basic, simple message. We are Aztec. What that means, though, is this past year we've served 577 citizens, children of Aztec, as our members. We are after-school programs running Mondays from 1 to 6 o'clock and the rest of the week from 3 to 6, with an average daily attendance of 83 in the club. We are summer programs running for 5 weeks through the summer, or 2 5-week sessions through the summer from 7:30 in the morning till 6 o'clock at night. We take the kids on field trips, we do programs, we do summer reading, we try and keep them engaged and learning. We are Aztec teams. This past year, we had the Aztec ladies softball team practicing in our gym. We had Aztec Soccer Club doing some practices out of our gym as well. We have been working in a new partnership with the Farmington Boys and Girls Club to support the kids of Aztec who are in Farmington teams, and that will change this next year. We will no longer be doing that. We will now be having Aztec teams this next coming year. We'll register through the Boys and Girls Club. Their coaches will be us. We will be us. We will continue to play in the Farmington League. It saves us a little money and gives the kids of being able to play in a much larger system. But their home games will be in our gym right here.
Yay.
So they will be playing and working out of home space. We are community outreach, participation, and cooperation. What that means is we work for the larger community and we work with the larger community. We work with the Aztec Chamber, we work with Bloomfield, we work with Farmington clubs to support the kids of the entire region, and we're partnering right now with the Kinteal Dorm. The Kinteal Dorm has 83 students in it who come from as much as 100 miles away, but are educated here in Aztec and often don't get off the campus other than to the high school. They don't spend much time. So once a week, they're now coming to our gym and getting enrichment activities after we close our doors. We're doing that, and now we're partnering with them in the first gourd dance. And I invite you all April 2nd. We will have a gourd dance in our gym. We're expecting a couple hundred participants, and it will be a first-of-its-kind activity for Aztec.
What time?
It will start at noon.
No.
And I have flyers here I will leave behind with you for the gourd dance. By continuing to evaluate, look at, enhance our offerings, we're trying to better serve the community and be the best Boys and Girls Club we can for Aztec. We look to grow young people in 3 different ways. Academically, with homework help after school, with summer reading program. Health-wise, because sitting in front of a computer doing this does not build healthy bodies. And we look at citizenship. And we work with the kids to build citizens, to build the next generation of leaders, to build the next generation of workers that work for Aztec and for the community at large. With that said, our academic programs had 176 members participate directly in academic programs for over 1,000 different activities last year. The healthy lifestyle programs, 227 students participated as members in those programs. Good character and leadership, we ran 12 different programs, 60 members participated in over 130 activities. Why? Why is that important? Because according to NE Casey Foundation, New Mexico ranks 49th. For more than 2 decades, we've ranked in the bottom 5 for the benefit of children. According to the National Summer Learning Foundation, students can lose as much as 2 months of learning during the summertime. And approximately 50% of our students qualify for free and reduced lunch. So where do they go that's safe, supportive? They come to the Aztec Boys and Girls Club. In the long term, where can they go that helps them build better lives for the future? Aztec Boys and Girls Club. If it weren't for the Boys and Girls Club that you support, and I have to say thank you, because it's only possible because of this commission and because of the will of the city of Aztec that we have a standalone Boys and Girls Club that is specifically dedicated to our students, our members. Through the physical support that the city provides and the financial support, we are able to make that happen. So thank you. With that said, we do have challenges. San Juan United Way has announced this year funding will be decreased by about 25%. And we're looking at probably another 30% next year. It's just the changes in the coal and oil industry around town. With that said, we're seeing kids in different patterns. We're having more kids, but showing up less often. We're having more special needs kids and more kids that need specialized programming. And we have facility issues. Our teen center on Simmons last summer suffered a trilogy of water-related issues all within a 2-week period. We had a disastrous water heater break, along with flooding from summer storms that both leaked in the roof and came in from the outside. With that said, that did not kill the teen center. We spent a couple months closed with the kids in the main club, but the teens demand their own space. And 16-year-olds do not play well with 6-year-olds. So we packed up lock, stock, and barrel, the upper part of the club, moved it all down into the teen center gym, and now the teen center gym is half gym space with a net across it. And as you can see, there are pool tables and game tables and activity tables and tables for homework in the other half of the gym. And it's not only working, it's working better than it has in years. The teens have had to develop their own games in half a gym. How do you use half a gym but still do active things? Our teens have had to come together and work together because they're now in one space. And if someone needs to work on homework and needs to focus, the rest of them need to be conscious of that and supportive of that. And we have a more cohesive teen group than we've had in years. And it's really a beautiful thing to see. I'm very proud of our teens and of our teen director and the work that's being done there. With that said, other solutions are being sought. The city has title to that facility. In 2002, we signed over title to the city in order to get pass-through funds from the state. Unfortunately, the insurance will only cover the damage that they say was done by the water heater break. The rest, they say, is flood-related, and they do not cover. Additionally, some of the work that was supposed to be done in 2002, when I went up into the attic to run cabling and such so we can use the gym as teen center, I found bags of insulation that were never spread and conduit that was never run. They basically, as soon as the interior looked good enough, they walked off the job. And so there are pieces of that that were not completed in 2002. With that said, I've talked to city personnel. Josh Ray, Steve Mueller, Ed Kotke have been out there and looked at the issues, and they're working on a plan, and they're working with me on it. And some of it they'll share with you as things come appropriate to approve. But we're looking at summer of 2017 before we can have the upper part redone. And it doesn't bother me, because the way they're working in the gym right now, the way they're building, just means we're going to have a better, stronger team group to move into that upper building when we get the chance in fall of 2017. In the meantime, our efforts to do things to build the community and to build the club go forward. Our golf tournament at Hidden Valley last year was a great success. Thank you. Thank you for the city for working with us on Hidden Valley. That works very well, and it's a good partnership. Our 17th annual Harley raffle. We were all sad to see when Highway Grill closed, which is where we've traditionally held that before. However, in the meantime, we've been able to work with Aztec Speedway, plan a much bigger event, and it looks like on April 9th we'll be planning an event with hopefully 300 to 400 people at it. And it's going to be bigger, better. We're going to have music and auction items and raffle items, and we'll just make it an entire afternoon. So come on out April 9th, and we'll be giving away 5 motorcycles, one to somebody in the audience.
Nice.
So, to sum up, we are Aztec, and we're working forward to make this the best town it can be. For 43 years, the Aztec Boys and Girls Club has been where the kids go. They're the future of Aztec, and great futures start here. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Nice
Any
presentation.
questions on what's going on or what we're doing for the future?
Madam Mayor?
Yes.
I'm thrilled to find out that they're bringing the basketball back to Aztec, because we haven't had it here for quite a few years. And,
Farmington has been very helpful in working with us in trying to support us in doing that. And starting this year, they're offering discounts that you don't have to pay dual membership fees. And next year, registration will be directly through us.
Awesome.
They've also offered to do that in the future with football, but we'd need to work out something with the city for use of fields, because we don't have any fields that are our own. But we may do some flag football as well.
Great. Cool.
Very nice.
Well, I just have to say thank you, Mike.
Yeah.
I know last year when you came and presented and your statement of we are Aztec, and I remember I commented then that was very refreshing to hear that. And I have to say, from a personal level, I greatly appreciate how much you're involved in the community and how much you're working to build the whole community. So thank you for that.
Yes,
We don't
thank you.
succeed unless we all succeed, so
That's right.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I will leave behind a couple of flyers for
Okay.
the gourd dance. Hope to see somebody out. It really should be a different sort of event. I'm not even sure what to expect yet.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, as we move on to the second presentation this evening, this is the San Juan County Annual Historical Society Report. Mr. Zhang Wood. I thought we had our annual report from you not long ago.
That was for last year.
Well, the years are just going quicker and quicker, aren't they?
Your Honor, we've been trying to get the books published in the same year and given out. And we're just about to get to that point, where we can give one report a year. Ms. Mayor, members of the commission, I'd like to introduce Catherine Davis. You all might know her. I may be the president of the Historical Society. She knows what's going on. First of all, I'd like to tell you how much we appreciate you guys, the city, the mayor, and the commissioners, and members of the Aztec Building and Maintenance, especially for Steve Mueller and his staff for their outstanding support in changing filters in the AC heating unit on the roof, My wife told me if I tried to get up there and fell off and broke my neck, she would kill me. So I don't do that. And thawing out frozen water lines. We really appreciate all the help and support that you all give us. A couple of items that the city should be aware of is, since the flooding of last year, we have noticed a few cracks in the front of the building, and there is a area that in the southwest window area that we're having dust coming in, and maybe building, settling or something, I don't know. But considering the amount of water that surrounded the building and filled the basement, we would anticipate some problems. But you all need to be aware of that because the building belongs to you guys.
And have you mentioned this with Mr. Mueller yet?
No,
Okay.
it was just brought to our attention and I wanted to get it
Okay,
out where everybody knows about it.
okay.
We would not be here if not for the continued generosity of the help of all members of the Aztec City government. Hey, I just can't tell you how much we appreciate you guys and all you do. We have the 2016 book ready, and I'd like to give it out now. This is Place Names of San Juan County, New Mexico, the Settlements by Stephen Lane Wood, and it just came off the press. Like I said, we're still in 2016. A couple of years ago, if we published one in 2015, it might not get given out till 2016. So we're really proud of the fact that we're catching up.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Zane.
Thank you.
Thanks, sir.
I'll leave this with Katie here. One for
Thanks,
his honor,
Jane.
the mayor.
Well, she's the mayor. I'm just the lowly city attorney.
Is that a promotion or a
Yeah.
demotion, Larry?
Included in that book is a copy of the New Mexico History Conference brochure, including a schedule and a description of the sessions, as well as a membership application for the San Juan County Historical Society. We're always soliciting more members. I might tell the audience Ann Hillerman, Tony Hillerman's daughter, will be the keynote speaker at this conference on Thursday, April the 14th. And an interesting note, teachers may attend the conference sessions for free. There will be more than 60 speakers. This event was a real boost to the Four Corners area, both in business and publicity. Many of the attendees coming in for this, and we hope to have at least 250, have never been in our area before. During 2015, we logged 809 3/4 volunteer hours, conducted 30 research projects, and had 154 visitors. We are open on Wednesdays from 10 to 12 noon, Fridays from 1 to 3, and Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 12 noon. We've had an ongoing project to get newspapers out of the great, big, heavy, hard-to-handle books that they were in, and we've been putting them in archival boxes, and that project is nearly complete. We have also made contact with Eugene Joe, the president of the Shiprock Historical Society, and we hope to work with them on some historical projects that will benefit them as well as San Juan County Historical Society and all citizens of the county. They have a tremendous number of pictures of the early days down at Shiprock, so we're hoping to impose on them and come up with some of that information. We are also working on the Historical Plaques Project. We are initiating plans to install our first plaque in late 2016 at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church out by Navajo Dam, the little Catholic church. They have one visitation a year. They have a feast day in December. I think it's December the 12th of each year. And we were out, a number of us members were out there this last year. It's quite an interesting ceremony. They have all of the blessing and they sing music, and then they have a statue of the Lady of Guadalupe, and they go around the church 3 times. And of course, the mud wasn't about that deep out there, but you know, it is, and we hope to get a historical plaque out there if the people that maintain it are amenable to it. Our Facebook page is alive and well. Posting of the 7 to 11 store on Farmington's 20th Street had 15,400 views. Chalco and Main Street in Aztec had 6,400 views, and Farmington Main Street 1908 had 3,000 views in 5 hours. And a special thank you to Kelly West and Mike Maddox for their expertise on it. Mike, he just posts pictures and everything he can lay his hands on, and I don't know how he does it, but that's good.
You know, I
Our
know.
total income for 2015 was $8,428.40, and expenses were $9,435. As noted, we are operated at a loss similar to what Aztec and other entities in the basin are experiencing, and we're well aware of that. You know, we've got a project going that we plan on looking at a full bed scanner where we'll be able to scan front page of a newspaper with 1 or 2 scans. With the continued support of the city, we are able to fulfill our obligations to the public and the county and city government as mandated by law. We appreciate you guys more than my words can express. And all I can say is thank you for all the support and help you've given us. Does anybody have any questions?
I have a couple.
Yes, ma'am.
So the historical plaques, is this something, a new project that you guys have taken? Is it something you've been doing for a while?
It's been in an ongoing project for probably 8 or 10 years that we wanted to get this going, and this has been the summary of the board that this would be an ideal place to put it, because those people out there, there's an awful lot of stories about Los Martinez and Los Pinos and Rosa and all the way up through the little Spanish settlements up there. But that church is,
So-
church and the graveyard,
Right.
everything
this be
else is
the-
underwater.
Will this be the first plaque, though?
That would be the first
Okay.
plaque.
Okay, great. And
We,
just
if we get permission and we can get
Understood.
it done.
understood. Understood. Sometimes getting permission for things you think should be no-brainers a bit tougher than it should be.
Yes, ma'am.
So just out of curiosity, how many members does the Historical Society have?
I'll defer that to the archivist,
72.
and we'll always take more.
Gotcha. Well, I figured. And to become a member?
Just fill out the application and you can mail it with your check.
And where do folks find this application?
In that book that I gave you.
Is there one online or
There should be
So for everyone at home who's watching us on video, where do they find an application?
Well, we are
that
also
turquoise
on
paper, Sherry.
Facebook.
I'm sorry, on
We are
Facebook?
also on Facebook.
Okay,
You can also get applications at the Visitor Center,
okay,
and then
Good.
the hours that we are open.
Office hours.
And if and when the Aztec Museum opens for applications.
Gotcha.
And also the Farmington Museum.
okay. Wonderful, thank you.
Is there any more questions that Catherine can answer?
I just have a comment. I know I've really enjoyed Aztec shares the Facebook, the photos and stuff that get put on there, and it goes through all my friends and family like wildfire. So
You know, it
really
was an
nice.
amazing thing to me. Mike put that 1908 view of Farmington Main Street in 5 hours. There were 3,000 hits on it, so.
Yep.
You know, it's something that I don't do Facebook. All my kids and grandkids and everybody knows that, but they Facebook me anyway. So I'll see what they're up to and then I'll just space them out. Okay, no more questions?
No.
Okay, thank you
Thank
again
you.
for all your help. Geez, I just hug all of you because we so appreciate the many things you do for us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zane.
Thank you guys for your
Thank you, Ms.
commitment to
Davis.
it.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. At this time, then, we'll move into citizen recognition. Are there any members of the commission who have citizen recognition? No? No. Okay. Employee recognition? Not at this time. All right. Then we'll move into the consent agenda. Items placed on the consent agenda will be voted on with one motion. If there are any items that do not meet the approval of Commissioner, that item may be pulled for further discussion under items from the consent agenda. I would like to pull item E for discussion. Are there any other items? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion for approval.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to approve the consent agenda with the exception of item E.
Okay, and is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve the consent agenda as listed with the exception of item E. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay. Moving on, items from the consent agenda. Item E is the fiscal year 2016 street maintenance crack sealing. And- Okay. The question, I'm not sure. Good evening, Mr. Watson. So, and I know I kind of feel like I'm beating a dead horse, but what, it says the streets identified in the 10-year street plan. Which 10-year street plan is this?
The new one we just posted.
The one the commission hasn't seen yet?
Oh, I didn't realize that the commission had not seen it, but essentially, it's posted on the, I think Ed posted
On
it
the
on the website. And I
Okay.
thought that you'd seen it. It's
We've not
been-
approved it. Even if it was sent out to us, it hasn't been approved.
No, I don't think it has been approved.
Okay.
So,
Okay, so, and so that, I mean, that's the crux of my question, is that, so we're referencing a street plan that's not been adopted.
essentially, Madam Mayor,
Yes.
Commissioners, this program essentially completes all this crack sealing in the city.
Gotcha. And,
So, it's, even though the plan may not have been approved prior to this meeting,
Mhm.
this is desperately needed in the city, and as I indicated in the staff summary, this is the most effective street maintenance
Right.
program that we can do.
and this is, okay, so it says here in the third bullet point on the staff summary, this contract will complete crack sealing maintenance operation citywide for 3 to 4 years? Is this a 3 to 4 year contract? Is
No,
this-
no.
Okay.
Until we have to start doing the crack sealing all over citywide, so the crack
Okay, so
sealing
it shouldn't be
doesn't-
needed again for 3 to 4
until-
years?
For 3 or 4 years.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay, and then my other, I was confused by the east side versus the west side of the city.
Okay, so the east side is the east side of the river, and the west side
Okay,
is
so the river's
west
the
side of river,
delineation.
yeah.
And so what's the, just curious, what's the thought process beside that, behind that delineation?
Essentially, that's the way the contractor did his estimate.
Oh, wow,
Yeah,
okay,
so when a contractor came out to talk to me, I
Right.
said, well, this is kind of how much money we got.
right,
And so why don't you give me an estimate on how much you can complete? And he chose to split it up into
Into
the east
two.
and west side.
okay. I just hadn't seen that before, so I didn't know what was going on. Okay. Okay. And so, and again, because it wasn't in here, what, so this is all the crack sealing as identified on on this plan that's now up on the website.
Right, and my staff and I surveyed the streets in the city to develop this plan.
Right.
So that was recently done this summer.
This
So
last
that-
summer?
Yes, and so it's the most updated
Gotcha.
surveillance that we have
Okay,
for the city.
okay.
And the way that this crack sealing is estimated, though, is by the pound, of crack
material.
sealing material installed.
Gotcha.
So I'm hopeful that the estimate that the contractor gave us is
enough.
going to be enough, or it may be too much.
Gotcha.
We're not sure because of the amount and
Right.
number of cracks in the street is very difficult to
Right, each
to
crack could
estimate,
take a
yeah.
different amount of
Right,
material.
Right.
Okay.
And the contractor actually routes the crack out before they
Right.
install the materials. So
Okay.
it's kind of a, it's an estimate, but it's kind of a guess also.
Right. Okay. All right, are there any further questions from Commissioner?
Madam Mayor, they're going to get all of it done in 2 weeks? Is the
Yeah.
holy
Yes.
cow?
Yeah.
That's a
Yeah,
lot.
that's,
They move pretty fast, and it's because that they're, and this is one of
so
the
we can expect
reasons-
lots of road detours and closures?
Well,
I'm
there's going to
just-
be some traffic control, and it's going to be messy because
Right.
they do route the cracks out before they seal them.
Right.
But the last time they were in town, I think they did it in 10 days.
Gotcha.
And so they're pretty confident. They said a week. I said, well, let's say 2.
Right.
And so, but the reason that really we're having them come to town is that they are professionals, and this is the only thing they do.
That's all they do.
And this is a crack sealing operation that the state hires them to do, and they do crack sealing on highways and the interstate all over the state. So this is the best good deal that we could do.
Right.
in
Are there
the
like
city.
multiple teams that like hit different areas at once, or it's just concentrated on a single area?
Is it like one crew?
Yes, and yes.
Okay.
Okay.
They,
Guess it doesn't really matter.
the team will come to town with maybe 20 or 30 employees, and some of them are experts in traffic control, some of them are experts in routing, some of them are experts with getting the material heated up, and the other, you know, they each have their individual jobs, and I kind of just say, well, go for it and let me know if you have any issues.
And so this is 2 weeks to be completed before June 1st. So are they going to be doing this the last 2 weeks of May?
I hope not.
I
But-
hope not, too.
Yeah.
Thinking
because-
about school out and graduations and,
Right, so the best time to crack seal is in the spring and the fall.
right,
And that's when the crack is the right width.
Right.
So that we can get it
Right.
routed out and the material installed. And so, and the contract ends, I don't know, in a couple of weeks. So we got to hurry up and get these guys under contract before their contract with the state ends.
Right.
And so Ms. Lamb has indicated that that's a legal procurement maneuver. And so we're hoping to get Dismuke under contract and underway
Right.
as soon as possible. I'm hoping before the end of April. But we have to work with their schedule and so forth. But they seem pretty anxious to get out here and get to work.
gotcha. Okay.
Madam Mayor, I got
Yes.
one more question. So it says this will take care of crack sealing for the next 2-3 years? Like what would be?
Right, until we have to go through this cycle again
Right.
next, whenever that is.
Okay. Is that kind of what the schedule is now? Crack sealing every 2 to 3 years or 3 to 4 years, and then next year will be some other kind of maintenance like chip sealing? Or?
Well, yes, if funding allowed, probably next year will be in the patching cycle. So
Okay.
you'll see in my staff summary where I've said that alligator cracking won't be covered here, that's necessarily
That's a patch. yeah.
covered with patching or complete rejuvenation. My crew does some of the patching, but there's quite a bit of alligator cracking out there. So I'm thinking that if we don't need the road funds to help the arterial funding, then maybe we can go out to bid for some patching in the city that my crew just is too busy to get to.
Gotcha.
Any other questions?
No, just a comment, Madam Mayor. I know they did some of this where they routed out the cracks they did, I think, 2 years ago, maybe?
Yeah, it's not been terribly long.
But anyway, the areas that I know that some of the areas that I know they did it, it seems to be holding up really well. So I think it's better than the old, just go in there and fill it with.
Oh, absolutely, and
You know.
one of the most important things of the crack sealing operation is to route it out so we can get a clean
Fresh
line
material.
and so we can get as much material in there as
But
possible.
They do seem to hold up
Yeah, these guys
pretty
are
well.
pros, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay. There are no further questions. I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I would like to move to approve the FY 2016 crack ceiling maintenance to Dismute Construction in the amount of $216,832, including GRT, and authorize the city manager to execute the ensuing construction agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed, same sign. Okay, then we'll move into citizens' input. So anyone who is here this evening to address the commission about any item not on this evening's agenda, you may have up to 3 minutes to do so. We need you to sign up at the clerk's table to your right. This is like that moment of suspense.
I know.
Nobody's running for the table, but, thank you. Okay. Tricia Banry, is that correct? Please come up to the podium.
Thank you. Good evening.
Yeah.
We received a letter about a proposed zoning change for the property at 119 South Church.
Okay, and
Cheska
that
Avenue for the
is
hub.
on this evening's agenda.
That is.
That is.
Okay, I wasn't aware that.
Yes, that will be a land use hearing, which will follow shortly.
Okay, they just told me if I wanted to speak, to sign the paper.
Gotcha.
So-
We need you to sign a different paper for that one. But thank you for coming. Okay. Well, while she's getting signed up on the right sheet of paper, if there are no other citizens, I don't have any other names signed up for citizens' input, then we'll go ahead and move into business items. Business item A is the Aztec Municipal Golf Course Clubhouse contract. And who's walking us through this? Yeah.
The man
We
running
don't
to the
get to
front.
see you much, Steve, so we...
Madam Mayor, Commission, thank you. You have before you a request for proposal for a golf course clubhouse contract. And that, we put it out to RFP. We had 2 responses. We negotiated with one individual. We couldn't come to terms, so we went back and negotiated with the second interested party, which we came to agreement with. And what this is RFP for to operate the clubhouse at the golf course. It would handle the clubhouse operations, the snack bar, and the other associated duties in the clubhouse itself. It's all pretty much laid out in the staff summary. And rather than me reading over it again, if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to attempt to answer.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
on the other person that put in the RFP, are there any specifics of what couldn't be agreed upon, or just for?
We came to a point, we had a couple of meetings with the individual, and there was a deadline that was put on the agreement for a response back after our second meeting, and that deadline was not met, so
So it was things not specified in the RFP,
as far as...
like percentages or terms or?
Well, we were in the process of negotiating at the time, and we, on the second meeting, we came to, I guess, a final determination of what those would be. We responded back to the individual,
Okay.
and...
So they
were
hadn't
given-
been specifically outlined yet in the RFP, that items that couldn't be agreed upon?
Not here, no,
Okay.
no. But it's pretty much the same as what was eventually agreed to with the second party.
Okay.
Fair statement?
Okay.
Question?
I have one. I don't know if Steve or Kathy. I don't see on our staff summary, usually we have a fiscal impact.
Well, but,
And,
It's actually in the body
right.
okay,
of it.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
actually
It's not
a replacement
separated.
of,
that's why I said
Right.
it's the replacement of the one for,
right, previously we've had city staff who operated the
Right.
clubhouse.
Right.
And so
it's
instead of
just
paying a
replacing.
staff person, that amount
Okay.
would go to the contract.
Right.
And then
The
additional revenues for
seasonal
the-
Okay.
People that we've had, personnel that we've had budgeted for the clubhouse will be used to pay for the operator.
okay. I just wanted to make sure that I understood all
Yes.
that part.
Yes.
And then
Right.
the proceeds from the sales of all that would then be additional revenue for us.
There's,
A
yeah, there's
percentage.
various percentages. When you
Right.
go through and look at the contract, there's an exhibit that identifies how those percentages will happen. So, yes.
And I didn't look real close. Does that happen like annually or?
The deposits, the remittance to the city will be on a weekly
Weekly.
basis.
Oh.
The compensation to the operator will be on a monthly basis.
Thanks.
Well, that's a good deal. He pays us every week and we only pay him
Well,
once a
no, we'll
month.
pay him before he pays us.
Darn. And so in essence, as far as cost to the city, yeah, that fiscal impact, we're just taking funds from what we would be paying in-house staff, and that goes to the
And
contract.
moving it over to the contract, yes.
Okay. And then if and when that person needs to hire staff, that has to come out of what proceeds they have, their percentages.
They're responsible for that.
and the
We are
contract.
going to continue to provide the half-time person, or
Okay.
it's a full-time person, but it's budgeted half-time at the golf course.
Right.
And that individual will be available to work a maximum of 20 hours to help staff the clubhouse.
Gotcha.
Any hours worked over that 20 that actually result in an overtime cost to the city will then be billed back to the operator at the city's cost.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Madam Mayor, that was my question, was under compensation exhibit B, how that worked. It was just worded, I understand now that you said that. Because it said
Yes.
full-time employee, or part-time employee, 20 hours to work in the clubhouse, but then the employee will be full-time employee at the city of Aztec. But just 20 of those hours.
Just 20 of those
Specific
hours
to
are
the clubhouse.
specific to the clubhouse.
Okay.
The rest of the time is specific doing other things that Steve needs to have done for the specific then to city operations.
And then the out on the contract is the same as the cities as far as 90 days notice,
Correct.
if we were to ever.
Yeah.
And the term is for the remaining year that we have currently on the golf course.
Right. The way the agreement is drafted, it's 1 year, and then we can go into a negotiation, and the idea was to kind of match this agreement to match the 2-year agreement that we have on the lease with the golf course then.
Cool. That's it.
Any other questions?
No, ma'am.
No? Okay, thank you. All right, if there's no further questions, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I move to approve the contract with Rubies in the Valley represented by Randy Hodge to operate the clubhouse and snack bar at the Aztec Municipal Golf Course.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Do you need a roll call, Sherilyn? No? Okay. All right. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. Okay, next, we will move into land use hearings. So I do get to read through a lovely 3-page, 4-page, it keeps growing, script before we begin. And so bear with me, parts of it will be on the screen to your left. You're welcome to follow along the parts that match up. And once I'm through the script, then we will begin the actual hearings. Okay? Okay, the following hearing procedure is for all hearings on tonight's agenda. A land use hearing registration form is located on the clerk's table for those who wish to receive a copy of the results from this hearing. You must provide your full name and current mailing address in order to receive a copy of the land use hearing order. If you wish to testify and provide comment on the matter at issue, you must register with the clerk on the land use hearing registration form and be sworn in with staff, the applicant, identified parties, witnesses, and interested persons. The meeting tonight will be conducted under procedures mandated by the New Mexico Court of Appeals in Battershell versus the City of Albuquerque, which are intended to protect the due process rights of all parties. Under this ruling, the following procedures will apply. Parties to the meeting will be identified, as will any witnesses the parties may wish to give testimony, as well as any interested persons wishing to testify and provide comment. City staff has a responsibility to assist the commission in fully developing the meeting record and may testify. All persons offering testimony will be sworn in by myself, who is authorized to administer oaths. All persons offering testimony will be subject to cross-examination by commission, city staff, and the parties to the hearing. Testimony will be limited to the relevant matter being heard. The items to be decided at tonight's public hearings are: Item A, a conditional use to operate a daycare preschool at 401. These are reversed. Okay, item A is listed on the agenda as a zone change from O1 office and institutional to limited retail neighborhood commercial. And item B is conditional use to operate a daycare/preschool at 401 Northeast Aztec Boulevard. Testimony will be limited by myself. For the purpose of this meeting, applicants are defined as, for item A, William Homka, and for item B, Renee Hutchins. Okay, other persons may be designated by the commission as parties if they can show to the satisfaction of the commission that they have an immediate, pecuniary, or direct interest in the outcome of the meeting. Witnesses are those persons designated by parties to present testimony on their behalf. Interested persons are those persons interested in the case but not identified as either a party by commission or a witness by any party. Do you want to bring me that list, Sherilyn? So aside from the applicants and city staff, are there any persons who wish to be identified as a party to these items? Okay, and seeing no one stand up, okay. Okay, so at this time, we have Ms. Banry, who has signed up as an interested party, okay? And that's for the 119 Chuska property, the change from O1 office and institutional to limited retail neighborhood commercial. And we have no one else signed up for the other. Is Ms. Hutchins here? Okay,
Oh, well, Renee's not, but
Renee,
Carrie is.
okay. Yeah, if you'd like to speak. You,
Well, just in
do we
case you
need to
have
have,
to.
right, Mr. Thrower?
Excuse me?
Do we need to have her sign up?
She doesn't want to speak.
She's the applicant?
Representing the applicant?
Yeah, we do.
Okay, yes, please, sorry.
Your favorite thing.
Doesn't mean you have to talk, you just, you need to be a part of
That
it.
way, if you have any questions, you can.
119 South Church, right?
No. Chuska. Chuska's the address.
Stuff somewhere
So
around.
it's wrong on
Because it's got South Church on the,
Oh,
on the,
the
gotcha.
staff summary.
Chuska's the address then. So, yeah, so one correction on the agenda as listed, land use hearing item A is a 2016-018 zone change at 119 South Chuska Street. So it's 119 Chuska. Thank you. Okay.
It is just,
Yeah, it's Chuska Street. Okay. Okay, so we have as a party for item B, the conditional use of 407 Northeast Aztec Boulevard, Ms. Carrie Watson. And we have as an interested person for the 119 Chuska Street, Ms. Tricia Banry. Okay. Okay. And those being the only ones listed, are the commission willing to accept these individuals?
yes.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, as we move into the land use hearing part of the meeting, is there a challenge to the jurisdiction of the City of Aztec Commissioners to hear any of the hearings on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing none. Are there any conflicts of interest or personal biases to be declared by a commission member?
No.
no.
I'm assuming that's a no. Personal
No.
bias?
No
Okay,
personal- no.
thank you. I know, it's new. Okay. Have there been any ex parte contacts regarding the upcoming matters that a commission member needs to declare?
No.
No.
Okay. Okay. Will staff, the applicants, parties identified, commission, all witnesses, and any interested persons wishing to testify regarding the zone change from O1 office and institutional to the limited retail neighborhood commercial, and the conditional use to operate a daycare preschool at 401 Northeast Aztec Boulevard, please stand and raise your right hand. Okay. Okay, do you swear or affirm to tell the truth under penalty of perjury? Okay, please be seated. Okay, testimony and evidence must be directed toward the zone change from O1 office and institutional to limited retail neighborhood commercial, or the conditional use to operate a daycare preschool at 401 Northeast Aztec Boulevard, and any applicable federal, state, or municipal laws or regulations or criteria which the person testifying believes to apply to the decision. Failure to raise an issue with sufficient specificity to afford us and other interested persons an opportunity to respond to the issue precludes appeal on that issue. Any party, as identified by the Commission, may request a continuance of this hearing if able to provide documentation or evidence in support or opposition of the application, in addition to what was available at the time that notice of this hearing was provided. In the conduct of land use hearings, unless there is a continuance, if a participant so requests before the conclusion of the initial evidentiary hearing, the record shall remain open for at least 7 days after the hearing. Okay, the order of presentation is on your screen to your left. First, the staff will summarize the staff report to the extent necessary to enable those present to understand the issues before the commissioners. The commission members may ask questions of staff, and they may be cross-examined by the applicant and parties. Next, the applicant, to include any witnesses, will have up to 15 minutes to address the commission. The commission members may ask questions of the applicant, and they may be cross-examined by staff and parties. Let's see, so we don't have parties, but we do have interested persons. We'll then have up to 5 minutes each to address the commission. The commission members may ask questions of the interested persons, and they may be cross-examined by staff, the applicant, and parties. The hearing will then be closed to all testimony. The commission will then make a decision and issue findings of fact and conclusions of law, move into closed session pursuant to New Mexico Statute 10.15.1.H-1, the Open Meetings Act exception, continue the public hearing until a specified time, or take the matter under advisement and announce the recommendation at a specified time. Okay, so now we get to begin. We will begin with staff giving a summary of the issue before the commission. Mr. Humpka.
Easy there.
Good evening, members of the commission. Tonight before you is a familiar case because it was adopted by resolution to actually get it on your agenda tonight. As you know, we put it before you, I believe, late January. And I think we should probably just correct for the record, yes, on access. So first of all, I think whoever typed it up, I'm not sure if it was Carla or if it was Dawn, we had the people who were sworn to testimony, the applicants, because it was switched. I think we read it in the record wrong. So
What?
you corrected it.
Okay. I
Right,
was
you
like, what are you
corrected it
referring to?
first, but,
Okay.
and then, as I say, under project description and facts, is the access is South Church Ave and East Chuska Street. It says West Chaco,
Okay.
whatever
Now, the
reason.
East Cheska
It's
replaces
East
West
Chuska.
Chaco.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
So to begin, this was promulgated by our own resolution 2016-985 in January 12th of 2016 this year. And this is the building that the city, community development, and the Aztec Chamber of Commerce, as well as a committee of people, including the Economic Development Advisory Board and several private citizens or businesses, have, through surveys and other work, identified that there's a need and a desire for a hub, a business incubation center. We're referring to it as the hub, a hub of activity, but it's a center for business incubation and entrepreneurship. These are often, they're popular across the country right now. I think Durango has one. It's called Durango Space. I'm not sure, I can't remember if Farmington has one or not. But I know there's one that's larger at the San Juan College, and it's for more advanced businesses and their business plan and product ramp up. So as it is right now, it is directly located behind the businesses on Main Street. Rubia's is where it is. This one has caused me personally quite a amount of trouble because it's listed as several addresses. It's either addressed as South Church Ave or East Chuska Street. They're both 119 because they're at the corner. And I've seen it addressed both ways. So we do have as we move forward, and I've spoken to Mr. Gotik about trying to provide 2 different addresses officially there if we're going to have suites and businesses in the second floor and or off of the Chuska Street. This is not quite a half acre. It's almost a third of an acre. The dimensions of the property are 100 by 140 feet, so it's about 14,000 square feet. With a little bit about what the history is, this building has been, from what I understand, quite a few things in the past. It's been everything from our MVD. It's been the site of multiple businesses all using the same building. If you were ever in it, you would know that they even controlled access almost the way we're looking to design it. All the services such as the restrooms and the HVAC are in the central core. And then there are these 1970s style, I'm not sure what to call them, like cemetery gates or something that almost close off each kind of work area. So we're proposing to be able to remodel that building. It's been on the market for over 2 years. It's officially owned by the Presbyterian Church just a few blocks down Church Avenue. We entered into a purchase agreement, 2-year purchase option with the church. And in a vision of looking towards what kind of businesses may come in there, just besides office, we recommended that it also look to become the adjacent zoning, which is C1 local business for our downtown. At that time, it's really just for the sake of, it's not as much office, but it's business incubation, and we want it to be perceived as part of downtown. Downtown is more than just Main Street. So before you is the request by the city, which the city initiated, because it has control of the property, to change the zoning from O1 offices to C1 commercial limited. And I find that there's several reasons why. The main ones are that the adjacent property is situated along Main Street, so it's not a spot zone. It's not out of character with the area. The one thing that we know is since it's been sitting there vacant, if you've seen it in the last week, our city crews, General Services, Parks and Rec, have been out there and doing trimming, cleanup work. Had some volunteers from the Aztec Chamber of Commerce go there and help clean up things. And even as a building, we've already abated what was an environmental hazard, as in terms of disinvestment reason, having asbestos in it. It was not that much, it was just the adhesive that was holding down the tiles, but still, even our city crews, we can't have them go in there and do that work. So it's an expense that we incurred, but also per our purchase agreement, it comes into consideration for that. And I can talk more about that later if you like. The proposed use is that it be open for public use. It's number 4, including businesses, entrepreneurs, and students. We've had discussions about having some mutual programs, business trainings, et cetera, and hopefully working with the schools. I haven't gotten that far, but I have discussed a rotating art program with Zach Pettyjohn, who's from Aztec High School, and we've gone around and obviously identified this hub building as well as several other city buildings to try and get student art out there, so it's just one building. Developing a strong local business base in Aztec is important, which is the goal of this facility and ultimately this zoning change request. I say that because as the committee looked to find a building, oftentimes we hear, well, maybe it should be on Main Street. Each building that was open had a suitor, and we're thinking that's where we want the people that would be from this enterprise center to go, not us take a building off of Main Street and not have it be ready for someone who's ready to do the full business plan and everything themselves and ramp up their product. So that's number 6. The use of buildings on Main Street are better suited for larger businesses that already have a footing in the community and may also be where businesses grown in the hub will locate. Number 7, the location is located in a spot that can help support downtown and outdoor events using its adjacency and fenced-in yard. And as I said, number 8, it had already been used for multiple purposes and business purposes in the past, and it's set up pretty much that way. I'd be glad to answer any questions about the zone change, how it got before you by resolution, or any of the work, I guess, heretofore. But the matter before you right now really is just whether or not the zone change is appropriate for the lot and the area.
Other questions for Mr. Honka?
I noticed it says that notices were sent to the property owners, but I didn't find anywhere where, did we get any responses from any adjacent property
I
owners?
didn't-
That's why Ms. Banry's here. this
Normally,
evening.
I do get like a call, even if it's, what does this mean? But I didn't get any this tonight, so I see that there's someone here, but I didn't get called before.
Well, I assumed that, but I didn't know if, up until this point, if anything had been received.
Heard anything else?
Okay.
Any other questions for Mr. Honka? No? Okay. Okay, and so we don't have applicants and parties at this point for this item, so then we'll jump down to interested persons. So you do have up to 5 minutes. You don't have to take the whole time to address the commission, okay? We do need you to come up to a podium.
In regards to the zone change at 119 South Chisca, or Church Avenue, kind of got really confusing there for a minute, from O1 to C1, a petition has been formed and signed by the majority of the adjacent property owners publicly listed as having been notified by the city of the potential zone change. This petition falls under Division 2 Change of District Section 264-521 of the City Code, subsection 4, approver or denier, _4, which states that a presentation of written protest signed by the majority of owners that are within the proposed change, so on and so forth. This petition urges the commissioners to deny the zone change for the property located at 119 Chisca or South Church Avenue from O1 to C1, and has been signed by the majority of the property owners involved. And I have that here, if you would like to see that. The concerns among the property owners include, but are not limited to, notification to all the property owners within 100 feet, as our code suggests, to the exterior boundaries of the property was not properly conducted. Per the San Juan County Assessor's property search, the following property owners were not notified, and I can give the list if you would like. There are 8: 106 Main Street, 108 Main Street, 110 Main Street, 116 Main Street, 200 Main Street, 201 South Church, 216 Chisca, and 206 South Church. Those were within 100 feet of this proposed building, and from what I understand, they were not contacted. The only people that received letters that were publicly listed here was Terry Kennedy for 4 separate properties on South Church, Bryant Banry at 113 South Church, and Aaron Banry, my husband, and I at 115 South Church. The proposed change would be, as we feel, inconsistent with the other properties located on Church Avenue. This area is zoned as a O1 and acts as a buffer between the central business district of Main Street Aztec and the R1 surrounding area, allowing both residential housing and appropriate businesses to occur within this O1 zone. Additionally, the majority of the properties within this O1 area are currently being used as single-family dwellings. Specifically, 4 of the 6 properties, clearly a majority. Due to the majority of the O1 district being used as single-family dwellings, a grave oversight, I believe, in the proposal, concerns of nuisances to the residents via increased traffic on Church Avenue, insufficient parking possibly, increased noise pollution, increased ground pollution, because let's face it, people throw trash on the ground. My son and I go out once a week and pick up trash from the patrons at Rubio's. We worry about what this zone change could bring in the future of this, when the city potentially has no longer need for the facility. A nightclub, a topless bar and grill, while comically extreme examples, these are possibilities under a C1 zoning, and who wants to live next door to that? And finally, but not limited to, the resulting decrease in our property values. The proposed use for the building is to provide 3 offices, a conference room, an open co-working space, a small meeting room, and a restroom. While these are perfectly within the realms of an appropriate O1 property usage, therefore making a zone change a bit unnecessary. Currently, the city only has a limited 2-year lease with the potential to purchase the building, but we're proposing a permanent change for the rezoning. Never mind the ethical issue here a little bit with the city dealing with the city, but why make a permanent change on a temporary situation when, also as stated above, is potentially unnecessary for the proposed use of the building? There are too many variables in the future of this property to substantiate a permanent change of this nature. Additionally, why wasn't the current zoning of O1, or if it was or was not, considered when first acquiring the building for these purposes? In conclusion, we again urge you, our commissioners, representative of us, our people, citizens of Aztec, to deny the permanent zone change for the property located at 119 Cheska South Church Avenue. And if you would like, we can, there's our petition.
Do we need
Yeah, we
copies?
will need to see that, so.
Any questions, I guess?
Any questions from the commission?
I don't think for Ms. Bannery, but maybe for Mr. Humka.
Mr. Humka?
Wonderful. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Okay. Questions for Mr. Humka?
Yeah, I was curious why, I guess, if they are within the 100, why those people that she mentioned weren't notified?
Well, I'm curious too. Frankly, the mailing list that we have for this property is rather extensive. It should have been in your pocket, but the people that were on it and for certified notices, and if you recall, we actually had this scheduled for 2 weeks ago, and I uncovered that we're taking the circle, for whatever reason, wasn't drawn correctly from the boundary. So we deferred that to this hearing and re-advertised. So I have Aaron Berry at 115 South Church, Bryant Berry, 113 South Church, 112 South Church, Terry Kennedy, 114 South Church, Terry Kennedy, 120 South Church, Terry Kennedy, 119 East Chuska, and 119 South Church, the Presbyterian Church, definitely because they're the owners of record. 118 East Chaco, the Wells Fargo Bank, 201 South Church, John and Gail Aspromonte, 200 South Main, Ralph Weinbarger, 120 South Main, Hodge Investments, LLC, 116 South Main, Hodge Investments, LLC. The South Main Plaza is ours, so obviously we didn't bother trying to send a letter to the plaza. Maybe that's, I'm not sure what happened. 110 South Main, Maury Havens, and 108 South Main, Elizabeth Bassett. We send those out via the registered mail.
Right.
I have a lot of the
Ms.
cards
Bannery,
here,
did that
so.
cover the lists of names and addresses that you had?
It covers an additional 4 of the 8.
So all of them that you had plus, correct?
No, sorry, when I refer to the original, I refer to the original that was listed publicly.
Right, and,
So,
and you gave us a list of addresses that you believed did not receive notice.
We're missing 4.
And truthfully, I mean, since this is a city project, I went extra to make sure if it was on the border, to make sure
Gotcha.
we notified them.
Well, if there, in fact, are property owners entitled to notice who didn't receive notice, then the commission has a couple of options. I mean, one, you could
Table the hearing
table the
until-
matter, redo the notices to make certain that all parties entitled to notice receive notice, and then put it on a later agenda. Pursuant to ordinance, if you find that folks entitled to notice didn't get notice,
Right.
then you could take action this evening, and it could take action to deny the requested zoning change. I don't think that you could probably take action to approve the zoning change without correcting any notice problems.
Gotcha. So probably to err on the side of caution, we need to table this and remail notices.
That would be my advice, and I think we should look carefully at the area and how the 100-foot
Gotcha.
distance is measured, and as you say, err on the side of caution, re-notify everyone. The petition that was presented this evening, signed by property owners, can remain a part of the record. And then, of course, at the later, if it's on a later agenda, then this young lady or any of the interested property owners may appear.
Come forward.
But the commission could and should also at that time consider the petition.
Okay.
Is there an option to make it conditional or special purpose instead of permanent?
Special purpose, what do you mean?
I'm not using the right terms.
You mean the zoning?
Conditional use?
Well, to address two things that were brought up. One, an adult use would have to come before this body, and I'm
Right.
sure with, the proximity to a local school district, that would not happen. Typically, in communities, there are very only rare parcels that would meet the distance requirements from a church or a school. There's some other things there, but we try to watch out for children and religious institutions primarily. And then the other is why now? This is really just looking forward, and I can understand maybe some hesitancy on the speaker's part, but we didn't want to have to be in a position where if, as leaseor, suddenly we didn't foresee the need because it is a business incubator that, oh, gee, why didn't we consider that? And I think it was my suggestion to do the zone change. 01 does provide for most business opportunities. I mean, there are conditional uses in there as well as permitted, some that are not even mentioned that would probably just be either permitted by right because they're not omitted or declared, and I would defer to Larry, our attorney, on that. But we're just trying to be safe and predictive so that, one, there's been a lot of discussion among some people, and even though we've probably had an article or two about it in the paper, it's still nice to make sure that the neighbors are notified. So I am a bit disturbed if they're saying they haven't received notice when I'm getting, things back in the mail that says that they have. We pay like $6 a piece to send those out to people.
Right,
So
but
I'm
that's
glad to send them
beside
out
the point.
again.
That's-
Yes.
Right.
So,
Just because there is a question about potentially property owners who didn't receive,
yes.
I am,
No, I'm in concurrence with that.
gotcha. Are there other questions for Mr. Homka at this time?
Madam Mayor, I have a procedural question.
Yes.
Bill, would it be the planning department's intent to bring this same application back before the commission? Or is there a possibility that you would look at it and perhaps seek something different than is in this application?
I mean, it is a resolution that was charged to me, but of course, that was my own recommending to try and make sure that.
The only
we
reason I
recover.
ask that is procedurally would be a little different.
Right.
Right.
If it's tabled, then you would bring back the same application for the same zoning change. If planning was looking at other options or might look at other options, then the better course would be to withdraw the application
And start fresh.
and start over, if in fact the request is going to be different than what's in front of the commission tonight.
Mr. Thorough, my experience with procedural issues are it's best to start over than to try and see wherein something happened, and I would rather we just do that. It also allows us the time then to, as I said, normally, and I was wondering, normally I do get a question from a neighbor, why, am I required to come even to this, or what is it? And I got none. So even though I'm getting receipts back, something's telling me something did happen, because
In that
if they have
case,
that many people, I'm concerned.
Pardon my interrupting. In that case, then I think the proper procedure by planning would be to withdraw the application and then bring it back, bring whatever they decide back before commission
So-
and get the notices out
Right.
properly at that time.
Right. So, for clarification, for those who might be in the audience this evening wondering, okay, so where does this leave us and where do we move forward? That process, can you give us a general timeline for starting over and bringing something back before the commission?
It'd be 30 days as it works into your schedule. So at least 30 days from now.
At least 30 days
Right.
from now. Okay.
So perhaps the first meeting in,
I think the second meeting in April is what I'm hearing.
Oh, so we could, the second meeting in April, hear it.
Right. I just want to be sure we meet everything.
Okay.
Actually give you 5 weeks
Gotcha.
for the second meeting in April.
Okay. Okay, so, Mr. Thrower, I'm gonna ask you to stop me if this gets too far off topic, but it is related, because I believe we do have contractual agreements in place with a tenant, potential tenant,
That we do.
okay?
Is that
I'm curious
contractual?
what that,
Yeah.
what
Is
that
that
does.
contractual obligation dependent upon a successful zoning change?
Not in accordance with the official reading of what's permitted and what's not permitted. So I would
So that type
rather,
of use would be allowed in an O1?
it is, but however, I would not want to encourage that.
I
from the
understand
standpoint
that,
of-
I'm just,
Right.
for the sake of folks who are looking at ramping up in investments.
Correct.
Okay, that at least answers that question.
Sorry.
Okay.
So procedurally, I would think the proper motion at this time would be
To
on
withdraw.
behalf of Mr. Homke to withdraw the application.
So he needs to request that?
Yeah, I think.
It's not a motion by commission, right?
Well, yeah, but the commission really could only act to.
Right, to
Correct.
approve or deny.
Approve or deny.
Right.
I think planning should ask to withdraw the application.
Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, would you please consider withdrawing this request that is before you tonight, considering the rezoning of 119 South Church Avenue from O1 Offices and Institutions to C1 Commercial Limited for the property at either 119 South Church Ave or 119 East Chusca Street.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I don't think
Yeah,
that
we don't
requires,
vote on
doesn't
that.
require a vote.
Right, okay, thank you, Mr. Homke. Thank you for
Welcome.
coming
Thank
this
you.
evening and bringing the concerns. Okay. Okay. All right, moving on, we'll move into land use hearing B. This is 2016-013, conditional use for 407 Northeast Aztec Boulevard. Mr. Homke.
Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, what's before you this evening is a request for a conditional use permit for a daycare and preschool that is located at what the former Highway Grill. And pardon me, I just that was the most excitement I've had here so far. 2 years, I'm trying to get my bearings here. At 401 Northeast Aztec Boulevard.
I was wondering if you were up to it again after
I
that
know,
last-
I'm just waiting, come on, I'm waiting for people to come up. And this
And
is,
not to butt in again, Mr. Homke, but
Yes, sir.
to butt in again, Mr. Homke. Is it 401 or 407? I've got both at different
There-
places.
right, one is a parking lot and one is the business, and there's, really, the business is at 401,
All right, 401, thank you.
correct. So I looked at that as well and thought, and the proprietor, if you will, or applicant is Ms. Renee Hutchins. I've met with her on several occasions in preparation for her application and then subsequent application. The zoning is C1, it's a limited retail. The dimensions of this property in particular is 100 by 140, which that's not correct. It's 0.96 acres, and that must have been copied over. I apologize. However, to have a this type of use, we do require a conditional use review and approval by the commission. I think some of this, in past experience, is also in congruence with state requirements, so that there's some sort of a review and that the local jurisdiction has some idea of what's happening, but it's not stated in our code that that's why. And the conditions basically are that we look to make sure that how does the site, how is it accessed? I mean, this is it's almost like a site plan review, if you will, and you don't normally see those. And it has obviously good access. They're providing a site plan that shows a drop-off area, a parking reduction that will be divided. The parking areas will be divided into 2 different age groups for playgrounds. And then there's what they call a bus lane. I'm not quite sure what the bus lane is. I'd be happy to, hopefully they'll answer that, but no, maybe they're
You don't
busing
know what the bus
children.
lane is?
Yeah, I didn't think that most daycares had bus lanes, but I don't know, unless there's schools that do it. It's new to me,
After school?
perhaps, latchkey kind of things. I only had one issue with the bus, and it was people who didn't want a bus and stopping in front of their yard, so I can tell you that. They're looking to
Stirring 'em
have
up again.
approximately, anyone want to interrupt because I don't know what I'm doing here? No, the applicant states there will be 95 children provided for, and of course, they have parking requirements. I applied the parking requirement for hospitals, nursing homes, specifically for the reasons that we're dealing with people that don't typically drive. They're getting kind of like visitors dropping in and dropping off. We don't really have a parking requirement that says for daycare. So I recommend that you approve this application for 6 findings of fact. That obviously, number 1 is it's a conditional use permit, and they're following through and submitted everything. Kitty Camp is the name of the business. It's an existing business here in Aztec and wants to stay here in Aztec. It's currently located, again, its official address is 101 East Blanco, but you can see it also from Main Avenue. The property is proposed for use as a preschool. It was formerly a restaurant and bar. It can meet the parking and circulation needs as you go through that. It has ample access. It's on, obviously, one of our largest thoroughfares, and there's plenty of room for outdoor recreation for the children in the areas that are proposed for safety reasons. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Other than what the bus lane's
Since
for.
we got this far, yeah, I'm really happy to answer any questions.
All right, are there any questions from the commission?
No, ma'am.
I don't have any.
Okay, all right. Ms. Watson, you do have the opportunity here representing the applicant to cross-examine Mr. Homka if there's anything that you think needs clarification. Okay. Gotcha, okay. And so, if there's no cross-examination, then you do have up to 15 minutes to address the commission if you choose. You do not have to. No, okay. Are there any questions from Ms. Watson?
No.
No.
I-
You have a
Madam
question
Mayor,
just for the heck of it?
Just because I would
It's one
like
of
to,
those
I would
nights,
like to
right?
ask.
Okay.
I'm assuming the bar will no longer be there. It's just, I didn't know if they were going to leave it as a kitchen or something, you know,
my.
but I just wanted to make sure.
So much for a formal
I wanted to
proceeding.
make sure.
Yeah,
that this was
okay.
gonna-
It's entirely up to you. Yeah.
I actually have one that may sound a little silly.
Oh, after
Is,
that one?
Is the car up on the signpost going to stay?
Yes, sir.
Awesome.
There you
Cool.
go.
I just was curious.
Okay. Because that was very relevant to the zone change, so now we're gonna, okay. All right, are there any other questions for anyone out there?
No.
Okay. Hearing none, I'm gonna close the hearing to testimony. Okay. Is there any further discussion among commission?
I
No,
don't have
ma'am.
anything.
No?
No, ma'am.
Okay, I would entertain a motion.
Madam Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to move to approve the 2016-013, an application for conditional use permit to operate a daycare/preschool at 401 Northeast Aztec Boulevard for the 6 reasons listed in the findings of fact.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Sherilyn, would you please call the roll?
Mayor Burbridge,
Aye.
Mayor Pro Tem Sight,
Aye.
Commissioner Rogers,
Aye.
Commissioner Randall,
Aye.
all voted aye, motion carries to approve.
Okay, thank you. Okay, then that moves us to city manager, commissioner, and attorney reports. Kathy, do you have any reports for us as acting city manager? No, okay. Just
Wow.
checking. Yeah. I didn't know if you wanted to comment about the sign at the daycare. I just asked you. Okay. So I will be headed to Grants in the morning.
Woo-hoo.
Yeah, very exciting. I look forward to it so much. For the district municipal league meeting to give a recap about the legislative session and what, for lack of a better way to put it, what the legislature chose to do to us. So Anyway, so I'll bring back those cherry updates from that meeting.
Nice.
Yeah, that'll be fun, I'm sure. I think that's it for reports from me at this point. Mayor Pro Tem.
I don't have anything. I did miss the economic development meeting, so I don't know if you have anything to report on that, but.
Trying to remember what we discussed.
Well, we had a GRT update, I believe.
Yeah.
Talked about communications back.
Yeah.
We also talked somewhat about, we had banking reports for change in several of them.
Right.
That happened earlier. Of course, we have proposed floor plan for the hub.
Right.
that we present, and just kind of talk about the status of what that is, including the presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just, the ones I have coming up are Northwest New Mexico seniors should meet in April. I'm a little confused on a couple of emails I got about that one this week, about whether it's in April or May, but, so I'll have to verify. Other than that, MPO won't meet again until April. So I think that's all I have. Just don't forget the chamber banquet coming up April 30th. Wild West theme, which should be fun.
And there may be a few surprises.
Uh-oh. So other than that, I just would like to wish everybody a happy Easter, and please remember why we celebrate this holiday. That's it. Thank you.
Commissioner Rogers?
Madam Mayor, there have been no airport advisory meetings, so I will not, I have no report from that.
Okay.
I attended the San Juan Safe Communities meeting.
You
and
made it.
I made it.
Okay.
It was fairly low attendance this time, and unfortunately, I can't even recall the presentation that was
Okay.
there.
But you made it, so that's.
But I did make
okay.
it. And the mayor's ball, I want to thank you, whoever. It was a great opportunity, I think, to get out and support the community. It was nice to be representative. Farmington, Aztec, and Bloomfield, and the county were all there, and it was a great time.
Thank you.
That's all I got.
Commissioner Randall?
Madam Mayor, I did attend my first lodger's tax meeting, and that was full of excitement. They did approve
Although
funding.
not as exciting as this meeting.
No,
Or the
that's-
airport advisory.
This was a new one for me. This was great. But yeah, they did approve funding for both to support the Alien Run and the Booze Fest. Right, was the other one for Commissioner McClure. I did attend my newly elected official training this last weekend also. You probably can't tell, but I learned a lot there, and it was actually, very interactive. It was nice to meet a lot of other commissioners from different towns and a lot of new people. So it was great. And that is all.
All right, thank you. Mr. Thrower?
I have nothing.
Nothing, okay. Okay. Where is she? She's in the back corner. I'm just getting very cautious about department reports at this point. All right, department reports. No, okay.
Nobody's running.
I'm looking at all the usual suspects, okay.
Suspects.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, Commissioners. Short and sweet, I promise. I do want to let you know that in the absence of a cook, we recently have hired a new cook, and she'll be on board next week, part-time, while she's finishing out her commitment to her other position. And we have received a resignation from our secretary. So in that, this Friday we will be closed, the center will, for lack of staffing. And also, it's a little premature, but Zumba is coming back to the center, so we're really excited about that. So I'll keep you posted. Thank you.
Very cool. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay. Seeing no other department reports, then I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
All right. Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful evening. This.
Did you invite